Look at these words. They all start with the letter Alif. But why is it that some of the Alifs have a Hamza and some don't? Welcome to Arabic with Amina. In this lesson, we'll break down Hamzat al-Waṣl and Hamzat al-Qat. When to write the Hamza and when not. We can categorize Hamza by its position in a word. At the beginning, it can be Hamzat al-Waṣl or Hamzat al-Qaṭ. In the middle, it's called al-Hamza al-Mutawassita. And at the end, it's al-Hamza al-Mutatarrifa. In this video, we'll be focusing on Hamza in the beginning of a word, which can be either Hamzat al-Waṣl or Hamzat al-Qaṭ. We'll start off with Hamzat al-Waṣl. This type of Hamza isn't written explicitly. You'll see it like an Alif. However, it will not have the Hamza part on top. So it'll be a bare Alif. Sometimes you'll even find this weird shape on top. So Hamzat al-Waṣl can look like any of these forms. Hamzat al-Waṣl is known as the connecting Hamza because Arabic words can't begin with a sukun. The first letter of a word can't have a sukun on it. So Hamzat al-Waṣl comes at the start of these words. You pronounce it only if you're starting from the word. If you're connecting with a previous word, the Hamzat al-Waṣl kind of gets lost in pronunciation. For example, when you say Alhamdulillah, you can clearly hear the Alif part, Alhamdulillah. When I'm connecting it with a word before it, for example, Qul alhamdulillah, it kind of disappears. So when do we use Hamzat al-Waṣl? Hamzat al-Waṣl is used in 4 cases. In Asma'ul Ma'luma, which is specific nouns, al-fi'l al-madi, certain past tense verbs, fi'l al-amr, imperative verbs, and al-ta'rif, the definite article. Let's take a moment and zoom out. You can see on this slide multiple examples of Hamzat al-Waṣl. That is, the Hamza without the actual Hamza on top. Let's look at each of the different instances Hamzat al-Waṣl is used. First, al-ta'rif, the definite article. I explain in detail this whole topic in another video, but here's a quick look with examples. Al-Kitab, the book. Al is equivalent to the word the. And when we write al, we do not add the Hamza on top. Al-Qalam, the pen. Al-Maktab, the office. Next, fi'l al-amr, imperative verbs. Again, covered in much more detail in another lesson. The alif in these verbs is Hamzat al-Waṣl, meaning we don't write the Hamza on top of the alif. Like in the verb اكتب, write. اسمع, listen. افعل, do. Moving on to al-fi'l al-madi, past tense verbs. As you probably already know, I have a bunch of lessons on different topics and you can check them out. For past tense verbs, not all past tense verbs start with Hamzat al-Waṣl. In fact, it's only those verbs that are derived from 5 or 6 letter roots, such as the past tense verb استخدم, he used. This comes from the root استخدام, to use or usage. Another example would be the verb استغفر, asked for forgiveness, which comes from the root استغفار, to seek forgiveness. The majority of verbs are not derived from 5 or 6 letter roots, so this rule would only apply to a certain amount of verbs. Finally, أسماء معلومة, specific nouns. There's a limited list of nouns that always begin with Hamzat al-Waṣl. A few common ones are ibn, son, or ibna, daughter; ithnan or ithnatan, in the feminine form, which is 2; imra'a, woman; and Allah, lafz al-jalala, Allah. So none of these words will have a Hamza written on the Alif. Now, let's move to Hamzat al-Qaṭ. When the word doesn't fall into one of the 4 cases of Hamzat al-Waṣl, that means it's Hamzat al-Qaṭ. Hamzat al-Qaṭ has the Hamza clearly written on the Alif, as you can see here. To talk more about Hamzat al-Qaṭ, if the Alif of Hamzat al-Qaṭ has a fatha or a dhamma on the Alif, the Hamza is written on the top of the Alif, such as in the words mother. It has a dhamma on the first letter, the Alif. Ab has a fatha. Alf, 1000. All of these words have the Hamza written on top of the Alif. However, if the Alif has a kasra, the Hamza is written underneath, as shown before you. Examples are Islam, إذا, if, إهداء, dedication. All of these words have a kasra on the Alif, so the Hamza is written beneath. That covers Hamza at the beginning of a word, Hamzat al-Waṣl and Hamzat al-Qaṭ. Make sure to check out our video covering Hamza in the middle and an end of a word. And that's it for today's lesson. If you found this helpful, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to Arabic with Amina. Share with a fellow Arabic learner. You never know who might need it. Also, check out our free courses on our website, arabicwithamina.com.